first thing that I always tell people to do is communicate. I'm very focused on continuing to build 11 Wall as the most iconic convening location for the business community globally.
Lynn Martin has big plans for innovating this historic institution. Numbers are her North Star, but soft skills are a big part of her leadership toolkit, with communication at the top of the list.
I think as a leader, the most important thing you can do is communicate with people. It's why we've made the deliberate decision over the last year and a half to be out there, to be telling stories, to be having conversations with people, because people just want to convene and have conversations about what's going on in the macroeconomic environment, with companies, in markets, whatever the case may be. So I'm a data-driven person, so I tend to rely on a lot of numbers when I'm telling stories, but I couldn't tell those stories to as many people as I can without the electronic forms of communication and the technology.
If you were describing what the president of the New York Stock Exchange does, how would you describe that?
We have to keep our markets open. That involves having an open, transparent marketplace that's highly resilient, highly scalable, and highly performant and efficient, particularly during the most volatile periods in markets. Mainly, I think with any job, the most important thing is to stay close to your customers, develop services. We like to offer our companies tools as opposed to, telling them how they should really operate their businesses, tools that allow them to tell their stories. But importantly, if there are issues on their minds, we want to help them, we want to help amplify their voice.
What is your leadership style like?
I communicate a lot. That is one thing. I like to throw ideas out there. A lot of times I throw them out there for reactions. A lot of times I'm told I'm wrong, which is good. Because I want people to push back, because I want that debate. I want to know, why I'm thinking something that is not right, or if I push hard enough, is it because that person isn't thinking outside the box? I don't think any question's a dumb question, because it's just a question someone else hasn't had the courage to ask before.
Having led the exchange out of the pandemic, Martin has a new perspective on how to lead through change.
Leading through change is hard. You know why it's hard? Because people tend to view change as scary. I think that's human nature. So the first thing that I always tell people to do is communicate. Unsurprisingly, communicate with peers, communicate with your manager, and communicate with the people that work for you, because everyone craves communication during change. The second thing is work hard, keep executing your job. Don't fall a victim to water cooler talk, particularly around change. It is where I've seen opportunity personally, as well as for others. Raise your hand. If there's something that interests you, if it is not in your current job description, raise your hand to volunteer to do it.
Right.
I took a nonlinear career path to this job. You could too.
Did you ever think in your wildest dreams that you'd be president of the New York Stock Exchange?
I did not. Growing up as a girl, it wasn't a career path, right? And that's one of the things I'm also really focused on, in being out there and having conversations with younger generations, because if you see yourself in a position, it means you can do it. When I was growing up, it wasn't exactly a career path. I remember asking my mom how you got a seat on the stock exchange. Technology has really democratized access, and I think that has led to a lot more diversity in positions such as myself.
Martin believes it is the personal interactions that help drive a company's success.
I personally am in 5 days a week, but I'm very intentional about that, because I don't know how to mentor the next generation of leaders unless I can actually have a conversation with them. And it's not always a formal, structured conversation. It's running into someone at the soda machine.
Right.
And saying, well, what do you like? And then that leads to, what happened in markets today?
Martin says those conversations keep her focused on the future. How do you take a place that's steeped so much in history and innovate?
You know, it's one thing I always challenge our teams to do. You got to think outside the box. I'm not about just operating today's New York Stock Exchange. I want to build the New York Stock Exchange for the next 10 years from now, for 25 years from now, for the next 231 years. And I challenge my management team to do that every day.